Giuseppe De Luca meant a lot to you.
Giuseppe De Luca I saw do the barber. I was a student. I never forgot it. And then finally I met the Met, and I'm going to do the barber Seville. I said, where do I get De Luca? They said, you know, you're lucky. He just came into New York. He's doing a town hall recital. Where is he staying? They told me, and I called him, and I went up to his apartment and told him about the barber Seville. He said, well, I come, I teach you. We work in the barber. And I did work with him. Not that so it's musically, but interpretively, the character of the barber, what he is, and so on. And it was the most wonderful thing ever happened to me, because there was, to me, the greatest barber in the world. And it's not only the voice; he had a beautiful voice,
the character,
but it was not a.
It wasn't
enormous, but it
enormous
was
like yours.
That's right.
But you were able to scale down to be so lyric in the barber, because you always had the dark color and the the you were able to make it. That was so phenomenal about you, because you could take a voice like Ballo, a voice you need for Aida, Trovatore. Other baritones couldn't get the lyric coloratura that you could get. See, you were unique in that area.
So what are you saying? I was a lyric baritone?
when you did the barber,
no.
You were unique. Well, you want to explain it?
I always sang with the same voice. As a matter of fact, I always thought lyrically. I mean, I never darkened it, only maybe a small period for showmanship, but I always sang with the same voice. Never darkened. Luckily, I had a natural darker quality, but I never tried to make it dark. I never did it. I sang it in my natural voice, and that's what I tell young artists when I chat with them. Don't change the quality, natural quality of your voice.
But you were particularly blessed because, first of all, who could sing Trovatore? You sang Trovatore early at the Met. Well, I know you made a comeback with Trovatore after you had left the Met.
Yeah.
But even a Monastro, before the Met, you were 26 years old when you did with Martinelli. A Monastro, you were so blessed. Who can sing? I mean, the color, but you were so blessed with the dark and the natural projection that you could do a Monastro. Like, you know, I even did a scene from it with Jerry Hines at Symphony Hall with Silipini. But I was already 30 years old. Or 30, whatever.
Well, it's not a matter of age.
Or 32. It was a blessing.
My first performance, I was already at the Met when I was called by an agent who booked opera singers, and he booked Martinelli to do Pagliacci.
Right.
And then he called me. I knew him. I did something for him. He called me, Bob, how would you like to do Pagliacci? Tonio. I said, I never did it. I mean, I have an idea what it's with Martinelli. I said, oh my gosh, I have to do it. So I went over with my teacher, my coaches, and I went over and I sang Pagliacci with Martinelli in Trenton, New Jersey. What a thrill.
And I sang with you in Trenton, too.
It was the most wonderful thrill to be able to be singing with this man.
That's what I felt like, Bob, when I sang Silvano, when you did the Ballo. When Silipini, he let me sing the orchestra rehearsal.
Right.
When you didn't. That's what I felt like when singing in your presence. But
he said to me, when I worked with Martinelli up in also is the same building as De Luca, and he said and he says al dente, cante solo al dente. What he meant, that al dente is the tea, but he did not to sing in the tea, but to keep the voice up.
Light.
And I tell you, it was wonderful. And then when I finally did it at the Met, and after the prologue, he was sitting in a box. After the face, he came backstage. He said, "See, I told you, al dente."
You got it right in that. I'm going to bring up the story that you told about Leonard Warren. That you got along because you shared many parts with Leonard in the beginning until he died, of course, on stage that terrible night.
That's right.
But what I want to get to, that there was a performance of Pagliacci, and he came and he hung his coat in your dressing room, Leonard Warren.
Yeah.
And that night you held the A flat for an hour. Wait, and you came back to the dressing room. His coat was gone. His coat was gone. You tell this story.
Oh, I tell you.
But you got along well with Leonard.
Oh my God!
You understood he was.
Yeah.
You said
he was an interesting character.
He was a little bit of a loner.
A loner, yes.
Yeah.
Then I sang. I was thinking of. I just forgot what I was thinking about. Oh gosh! All right, let's. He lived in a.
Sharky the Seal, Radio City Music Hall.
He lived in his trainer at what was it? So I went there. I took like a filter fish that my mother made. I said, I'm going to surprise my friend Sharky the Seal. I went there and I threw this beautiful piece of gefilte fish right in his mouth. He took a bite. Pooh! He spit it out. I found out he was an anti-Semitic shark.
By the way, just before we go on the air, Robert has told me he's not only the designated baritone of the New York Yankees, he is
the best right-handed pitcher. No, but I said
pitcher.
Excuse me. Could you take it out?
I'll erase it.
Say it again.
He is not only, Robert Merrill is not only the designated baritone of the New York Yankees, but he's also...
I'm also the best...
right-handed.
Yes. I'm the best right-handed baritone in the Bronx. Now that is something.
That is something.
A right-handed baritone, the best in the Bronx.
And when they see him at Yankee Stadium, they say, when they see him, they call him...
The "Oh Say Can You See" guy. That's from the national anthem that I've been doing for 35 years.
In the key of A flat major, by the way.
That's with various keys.
A flat with an E flat, beautiful, because people love to sing it. If you do it in B flat, it has an F on top. People can't do it. But this has the E flat on top.
I do it in various keys.
Of course.
It's how I feel.
Exactly.
You know, sometimes the weather before the game is, I've sung in little snowstorms.
Now when you sing it really high, the Yankees always win.
The Yankees win, yes. I'm batting 700.
That's right.
They kept track of it. Some guy up, a writer in the booth, kept track of it. How many times I sang it, how many times they won. 7 out of 10 games.
That's right.
They won.
And when you would sing it live, of course, not the recording, for the World Series or for the All-Star game, it was magnificent.
I did all the World Series games.
All the World Series. 700 times. And what about those 500 performances of Tevye? At least 500 performances.
I didn't keep count.
On Broadway, they say it's approached 500 performances of Tevye.
As a matter of fact, they said 600 also.
Really?
Well, I did it every summer. Finished the Met. I'd go out for 10 weeks with my own company and do fiddling. I loved every moment. We used to do 7 shows a week. And I loved it. And I didn't realize that I sang it like it should be sung.
Magnificent.
As a matter of fact, the writers wrote it the first time they heard Tevye's sung.
That's right.
It was written it could be sung, and the 2 composers lived here in New Rochelle.
You brought the great operatic baritone to the part. And there's a little davening in there. And the little interlude, of course. So you have
a little davening, but you know you can't overdo it.
Of course.
It's called a krecht.
A krecht. Okay, we're gonna have a.
You know,
deliver the
and I went, and now I walked by the Met. It was then on 39th Street.
That's right.
7th Avenue, where they took all the scenery out between scenes. You know, I walked by and I see this thing leading up to the big door, and I hear voices. The Metropolitan Opera. So I took my little trailer, my little thing, with all the dresses, and I rolled it right into the backstage of the Met, and there I was listening to opera. I never heard it before. I was just
flabbergasted.
I just stood there and listened to these gorgeous sounds. I didn't even know who was singing, but it sounded so beautiful.
It turned out,
I was very close.
I think it was Tibbet, a rehearsal of Traviata.
Was it? And I stood there, listened, and I but I didn't know then who it was. When later I found out it was. And finally a man comes up to me and says, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I said, "I was told to deliver these costumes here." He says, "What kind of costumes are they? Get out." So I went out, but it was a great experience. Well, at the Met, my first year or second year, they got me to do Tonio, and of course the prologue. And that year, John Charles Thomas and Lawrence Tibbett were still singing there after finishing.
Oh, it was a Sunday night, I think, those concerts.
A concert, yeah, it was a Sunday night concert, and they asked me to do the prologue. So there I am backstage. I'm waiting for the dum dum dum, and it came to just before, maybe 5 bars before. I look into the wings, and there's John Charles Thomas and Lawrence Tibbett waiting to hear the new boy on the block. Well, I said to myself before I parted the curtain to sing, I said, if I do it well tonight, nothing else is going to frighten me anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
And I came and I did the prologue, and I came to the Parte di Voi, the A flat. I must have held it for 2 hours.
Right, at least.
And finished, and then they came backstage and they walked into my dressing room.
Yeah.
John Charles Thomas and Larry Tibbett. Tibbett was wonderful. "Hey, young man, bravo, hell of a voice. Hey, beautiful." John Charles Thomas was a different type of guy. He said, not bad, old boy, not bad. But Larry Tibbett became a good friend of mine, and I chatted with him a great deal. Not only about voice.
He had to be a great friend to singers because he was the president of, I think, the AGMA.
AGMA, yes.
AGMA.
He was a wonderful man, and I enjoyed him. John Charles I didn't know very well, but I admired John Charles Thomas. I went to his concerts, and
just beautiful. Toscanini, talking.
Yeah, when I was, Toscanini heard me sing Di Provenza on my radio program I had every Sunday for Ossia Victor. And he was casting Traviata for the broadcast. He heard it. He called the gentleman that ran the music.
Katsanov?
Shatsinov. He said, "Get this boy. Get this man." And so Shatsinov told me, he says, "Bob, would you like to sing with Toscanini?" Excuse me. I said, "You're not kidding me, Shatsy." "No." Sure enough, he engages me to sing with him, and I haven't met him yet. First rehearsal was a piano rehearsal up in Studio 6A. It was a little studio on the 6th floor. And I walked in expecting Pierce and Albanese booed. Nobody but the maestro sitting at a piano. And I walk in and I see the maestro sitting at the piano, and no other artists there. I sort of looked at him and stared. He turned around and looked at me for 5 minutes. You know the story? 5 minutes he looked at me, and I didn't know how the hell I'd get out of there. If I had a pill, and they called, and suddenly he says, "Oh, avanti." I walked over to him. He looked at me for another 2 minutes, and I realized what it was. He booked a man, a major.
Of course.
And I was.
You were 26 years old.
26 years old.
25 years old.
And looked 19.
That's right.
Finally he says to me, "Merrill, are you a father?" I said,
No.
"No, maestro.
I'm not even married."
I'm not even married." Finally, we went over the roll to he and I. And when we finished, he looked at me again for 2 minutes. He said, "I will make you a father," which was wonderful.
And also that story, there was a syncopation, and he would tap you on the head with the baton.
No, that was during the performance.
Siate, siate, lanciol. Siate, siate.
He did it with love.
Of course.
And every time I sang the roll, not siate, siate. Every time I sang it at the Met, I sang it later on. When it came to that part, I felt a little tap on the head with it.